This election, voters in several states will also be deciding on school choice measures, which would allow parents to pick their child's school and use those taxpayer dollars. There's been a massive grassroots movement on school choice, and joining us to discuss is Tina Descovich, co-founder of Moms for Liberty. Tina, good morning. Great to see you.
Good morning.
School choice is on the ballot in Kentucky, Colorado, and Nebraska. The ballot does ask voters to determine whether families should have freedom with their education tax dollars. How important is this measure? Will it pass in those states?
Well, it looks different in all three of those states. I think in general, we know that parents want the right to direct the upbringing of their children. They have that fundamental right, and that includes their education. So in Nebraska, for example, what's on the ballot there is trying to remove 4,000 students that already have school choice, trying to take that right away. Can you imagine having your little son or daughter in a school the last year that is a perfect fit for them, they're excelling and doing well, and then this policy being revoked and them having to go back to their failing local school that's down the street? I think it's ridiculous and harmful to children.
Well, we know former President Trump and Vice Presidential candidate J.D. Vance do support school choice. J.D. Vance has been talking about it on the campaign trail. Where do Democratic candidates stand on this issue?
I don't think you even have to ask that question. They are BFFs with the teachers union, and the teachers unions are pouring hundreds of millions of dollars into each one of these ballot measures to defeat them in Colorado and Kentucky, where they're trying to give parents more options for their children. They're about saving their jobs. They're about saving the institution over putting children first. And so you just have to look at Tim Walz, his record in his state. He has fought against school choice there, and you know that that's what will happen if they get elected on the federal level.
Yeah, he's a former school teacher. He pushed back against school vouchers when his state's Republican-controlled Senate advocated for that kind of a program in 2021. At the time, he said he did not want to, quote, defund public schools. Now, a poll by the Center Square and Noble Predictive Insights found that 69% of likely voters support a federal school choice program. And as a taxpayer, some parents say it's inequitable to only support kids in public schools. Now, opponents say just the opposite. But the bottom line is there is a reason this is happening, and that's because of the poor performance of the U.S. education system. How would this program work? Is it a voucher?
I think the best way, or the way this should work, is, education belongs to the states, but how the federal government could be involved, because they already are involved with the Department of Education, is through tax credits. Anytime we can get our money back from the federal government, I think that's a bonus. And if we can do that to help put our children in the school that's a right fit for them, I think that's a win-win for Trump and Vance. I think it's a win-win for parents, and most importantly, it's a win for students across the country.
I was looking at just some of the states that do have a program of sorts of school choice. Some have what's called ESA programs or education savings accounts. As you mentioned, some do have tax credits, vouchers, open enrollment. What has been the most successful and why?
I think it varies from state to state, and that's the beauty of the way education is set up in our country. Most countries around the world, it's top down, it's all the same, it's universal. In the United States of America, each state gets to decide, and that's the beauty. We're supposed to be incubators. And so what will work in Texas will not work in New Hampshire, and what works in Massachusetts doesn't work in California. And so it looks different everywhere. And what's great about two of these ballot measures in Kentucky and Colorado is they say that they want to protect innovative ways of the future of education. I think that's what we need to do. We need to open this up to ideas. American education is failing in its current system. Only 2/3 of American children can read on grade level. And so Kentucky and Colorado got it right with this language, and I pray that it gets approved tomorrow.
As you say, let the states decide, let the parents decide. Tina Descovich, co-founder of Moms for Liberty. We appreciate you joining us this morning here on the National News Desk.
Thanks for having me on.